Okay, this mini lecture is going to look at a concept known as Coulombs Law. And it really defines for us how charged particles interact in a mathematical way. So we learned about the interaction of charged particles. And if you haven't watched that video, you can go back in the playlist and check that out. And we learned that like objects repel and opposites attract. Well, if I were to put two like objects, let's say I had a positive charge Q1 and I put that next to the table with a positive charge Q2. I let go of them. Well, they would repel one another. And if they were allowed to move, charge 1 would go from not moving to moving in that direction. And charge 2 would go from not moving to moving in that direction. If we go from not moving to moving, we have a change in motion for these two objects, which implies we have an acceleration for these two objects, which implies we have a force. And Coulomb's law is what describes that force. This electric force, which we often abbreviate force sub E, is what is known as Coulomb's law. All right. So the question is, what's that force related to? Let's see if we can figure that out. All right. We know that forces have both magnitudes and directions. So let's start with the magnitude of the force first. If I have these two charges, Q1 and Q2, and I suddenly make Q2 a lot bigger. Now, not physically bigger, I'm representing bigger electric charge, a larger charge visually by a larger circle. So let's imagine they're two identical sized objects, but I put a larger charge on Q2. Well, that seems like it's going to get a bigger force. And indeed it does. If I increase the charge on Q2, I increase the force. Well, you might imagine, what if I didn't make Q2 a larger a larger charge, but I made Q1 a larger charge? And again, not physical size, but charge. Well, that probably increased the force too. And sure enough, if I increase Q1, I increase the force. Well, now what else can I do? What if I take Q1? Now, I don't necessarily make it larger, but I put it really, really far away. I think that force is going to increase or decrease if I put it really, really far away. Well, they're not as close to one another, and turns out if I increase the distance between these two, which we're going to call the radius, or R, if I increase the distance, I decrease the force. And it actually has a pretty big effect. Turns out the force is inversely proportional to the radius squared. So even a small change in the radius produces a large change in the force. Well, these proportionalities give rise to Coulomb's law, which tells us that the electric force is proportional to both charges, Q1 and Q2, and inversely proportional to the radius squared. Now, as in most cases in our physics studies, we've learned that there's often a constant of proportionality, and that is also true in this case. And we use the letter K for our constant of proportionality. K is Coulomb's constant, and it is equal to 8.99 times 10 to the 9th newtons times meter squared per coulomb squared. Oftentimes that's shortened to 9 times 10 to the 9th, but if we're going to be so specific, it's 8.99 times 10 to the 9th. So that's the constant of proportionality in Coulomb's law. Now, there's actually a second way to write Coulomb's law, and when we're just dealing with static charges, using this equation works really, really well. But there's going to be a second way that we're going to use as we do different types of calculations utilizing the idea of Coulomb's law. And that uses a constant that I want to introduce to you called the permittivity constant. I gotta make sure I spell it right. And the permittivity constant is also it's an epsilon with a sub-zero. That's epsilon naught. And this equals 1 over 4 pi times our Coulomb constant. So 1 over 4 pi k, which means I can actually write Coulomb's law in terms of epsilon naught, where the Coulomb's law is the force times 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 over R squared. So this is just another way to write the electric force. We're not going to use it when we deal with static electricity. We're going to keep that in the back of our mind for other uses. Now remember, this had to do with the magnitude. So we want to be careful. This is just the magnitude. I'm going to put my little magnitude bars in there. The size of the force is determined by Coulomb's constant times Q1 times Q2 over R squared. So let me just circle Coulomb's constant there for you so you can make sure to get that into your notes. All right. Well, forces also, of course, have directions. So it's not just about the magnitude that we have to pay attention to, but we also have to pay attention to the direction. So when we learned about forces back in those, if you haven't learned about forces, go check out those videos. But we probably have already learned about forces if you're already dealing in static electricity. And forces are something that have both magnitude and direction. And we've often used the direction as it relates to sort of our general directions, our convention directions with rights, lefts, ups and downs, easts and wests, forwards and backwards, that sort of thing. And we used direction symbols as pluses or minuses. And by convention, the pluses meant to the right and up and forward and north, sort of our plusy sorts of directions. I didn't have to. You could decide it for various problems. But by convention, we often use plus to the right, negatives to the left, or pluses up and negatives down. Let's consider that situation as we look at charges and as we look at the equation itself for Coulomb's law. And we're going to find that we got to rethink about direction a little bit when we think about Coulomb's law. Okay. This last little bit erased. So, we're going to keep in mind the magnitude of Coulomb's law. It's K, Q1, Q2 over R squared. And we're going to conceptually examine these directions. What do positives and negatives mean? Whew. All right. So let's imagine that we have Q1 and Q2, and they're both positive. Well, if Q1 is positive and Q2 is positive, then this is going to be a situation where the force Q2 experiences from Q1 is repulsive. And Q2 should experience a force in that direction. So that's the force on Q by 1. So it's to the right. If I were to use Coulomb's law, okay, Q1, Q2 over R squared, well, K is positive and R squared is always positive. And Q is positive and Q2 is positive. So I would end up with a positive value for my electric force. Okay. What if I have for a different scenario? What if instead I have Q2, same Q2, and it's positive. And I have, I'm making my circles and not my Q's. Q3, and it's negative. Now these two are in close proximity to one another. Well, Q2 is going to feel a force, and it's going to feel a force in this direction. It's going to be attracted to Q3 because they're opposite directions. So if I look at my Coulomb relationship, it's still K, Q1, Q2, those two forces, Q3 over R squared. But now Q1 is positive, and remember Q3 is negative. So if I calculate this out, I get a negative value for my force. But if I look at it pictorially, Q2 is going to the right in this scenario, and Q2 would be going to the right in that scenario. And back when we learned about direction, to the right was positive, but yet I have a positive and a negative. So our signs, our directions in electric forces mean something different. Positive force electric tells us that we are repulsive. Says that they repel. A negative electric force tells us that they attract. This is going to be very important to recognize what direction, true direction, if I wanted to analyze the motion of this, for example, what true direction the forces are on these charged particles. We then have to recognize that I've calculated a negative force, which means Q2 is attracted, which means in this case it's to the right. So when I analyze the motion of Q2, it's rightward motion. Even though I've calculated a negative force, I have to separate the direction that I get from my electrical equation with the direction I use to analyze forces. So I want you to keep that in mind. All right. Coulomb's law gives us the relationship between the force exerted by particles when they're interacting with each other, charged particles. The direction, the magnitude is related to Q1, the size of the charges, divided by the radius squared. And we have to have that constant of proportionality, our Coulomb's constant. The direction, if the force calculated is positive, that means the two objects are repelling. Same sign. If the forces are negative, it means they're attracting. And then when I want to do analysis of that force, I use that information to design my picture, draw my free body diagrams, and I'm all set with using Coulomb's law to look at forces. All right, good job.